So hey guys, and welcome to another retro game for cheaters. Today we are playing Xenon 2 Megablast. It's another shooter on Genesis. And what are we playing with cheat-wise today? Well, we're playing with infinite energy, we're playing with infinite lives. So let's see if we can finish this game. See if we can win, because that's all that matters. Let's get ready. I'm ready. Are you? I guess so. So here we are, Xenon 2 now. So yeah, infinite lives, infinite energy, supposedly, although I'm not sure whether this is actually working or not. I'm not sure if this is a game that's going to be easy enough for me to do. We'll try. Yeah, we can see, because our life's not going down even though we're hitting all these things. And we're stuck on the landscape though. That's not what we want. We don't want to be stuck. So what's happening? I am stuck now on there we go. We don't have to destroy that, just it's probably easier if we do. Just, you know, oh, some weird trilobite things, I don't know what they are. But they're easy enough to defeat. Everything's easy enough to defeat, really, I mean. We could take almost all of these things down. The little centipede thing, you have to shoot it a few times to break it into pieces. But never mind, I've gone completely the wrong way. I'm not sure that I can get out of here now. Yeah, I can. So what's good about this, what's different about this, I suppose, is that when you're, you know, normally in these kinds of games, you're really stuck on one path. You don't get a choice of where to go. So what's different about Xenon 2 and what's good about Xenon 2 is that you don't really have too much to worry about in terms of crashing into the landscape. Whether the Genesis version was the best version of this game, or Mega Drive version, should I say, because, you know, I'm in the old UK. And we most definitely didn't call this system the Genesis. We've got a shop to go into now. We have 700 cash. And what can we buy? We have one item that we can buy. And what is it? What do I want to sell you? No, hang on. The rear shot, power 1. He will pay 500. No, I don't want to sell. Oh, wait, did I just sell that? I actually didn't want to sell that. I'm not sure why it did that. That will cost 200. Advice. We don't need advice. Auto fire. Let's get that. What else do I want? What else do I want? No, I don't want auto fire. I don't need the health power option. Yeah, let's just buy that. Well, what I want to do now, I didn't really need to buy that. I should have just not bought anything, to be honest. Don't really have a choice there now, though. But look at that, that's given us a lot of additional options weaponry-wise. That's severely boosted what we're doing for a brief time. that's just shot off the screen. We'll take that one though. Shouldn't have sold my rear firing cannon though. There we go, that got rid of some of that stuff more easily. This is a game that a lot of people did enjoy at the time, a series that a lot of people enjoyed as well. Although I seem to remember, see when I was a lot younger and in school and people were playing this game, they didn't know how to pronounce this title. The title is Xenon, of course. You know, like the or Xenon, maybe some people prefer to use. But everyone I knew used to pronounce it as Xenon, because apparently they didn't know how to pronounce. That was a thing I noticed with a lot of people when I was younger, you know. They didn't know how to pronounce a lot of things properly. A lot of people still don't, to be fair. The Commodore Amiga was obviously quite popular at that time. And there was also a drink on the market, a cheap cider, which was called Omega. And they pronounced that Amiga, and I don't know why. There's a pronunciation issue with a lot of things back then, you know. So yeah, Xenon was apparently a word that nobody knew how to pronounce. But then again, that was when I was in primary school, you know, and so when you went to the bigger schools, when you were learning chemistry and all the rest, you maybe finally learned how to pronounce those things. That's a bit of a strange thing to talk about, but you know, it's just a memory that I have of these sorts of games. Look at this weird thing, it's like a Nautilus type shell thing. I don't know where you're supposed to hit this, probably there. On its throbbing helmet type tentacle. Why don't you go away, you throbbing helmet tentacle? Looks like we can only hit it from one area. And you know, it's not reacting as I'd expect it to. Yeah, it's got like a weird organ that's shooting out of itself. It's taken a while, and we've got really crappy weapons to try and take it down with, so that doesn't help. Just go. Look, I mean, we get one hit there. Something's not letting this collide properly. It's very easy, you know, though, obviously, when I'm running through it with a cheat, and maybe, as I say, with a lot of these types of games, especially with these shooter type games, I would not be able to do this game if I wasn't cheating like this. We're in the shop again. I don't want to sell anything. I don't have anything to sell anyway by the look of things. I have nothing to sell you, so stop asking me to sell you things. We've got a lot more options available to us now. What's that? Advice. Again, we don't want advice. I don't need a speed up. Or auto fire. Electro ball. And side shots I feel like could be useful. Mines, the rear shot. Well, let's get that rear shot back, because I didn't want to get rid of it in the first place. Well, what are these? That item's out of stock. That's a power up. Yeah, give me the power up. I think that's probably it. That's all I can afford, so... Exit. Stage left. Entering level 2. So we're slightly powered up. Hopefully that will benefit us in the long run. Of course it will, what we're talking about. Of course it will benefit us in the long run. We've got some cockroaches attacking us, or maybe they're flies. They are like space cockroaches. Well, are we in space? Because everything's very biological, isn't it? I suppose this differs from a lot of the... Obviously, like the types of shooters a lot of people think of are your sort of bullet hell style shooters, whereas this is very much... You can avoid the enemies. I suppose it does work in the same way, because the enemies do some weird motions. The enemies do some very strange movements. Snaking around me. It does feel pretty bad, you know. When I'm doing these, I do like to try and play the game in a way that suggests that although we're cheating, we're still trying to play the game in the way that it's intended. You can't really do that in a game like this when you're doing things the way I am. I'm aware as well that you're probably hearing me tapping away on buttons here, which doesn't help that much either. I could probably fix that by turning my microphone down a little bit, but then you might not hear what I'm saying. Maybe you don't want to hear what I'm saying, I don't know. Shadow, this was a kind of a classic shooter series. And it was very popular. Oh, he's got two of those now, look. And they move outside of his body. Independent sexual organs is what he seems to have. I don't know that they are, I'm just using a... Okay, does he actually do anything? Or have I gone to the wrong place? Do I have to go to the back end of him to shoot out his independent tentacles? Ah, here we go. That's what we want. We want to kill that. Now we're going to have to shoot over to the other side to kill the other eye. Come on. Why is it not hitting? It was hitting before. There we go. I can't fly across him, so I have to look for locations where he's weak. I can't see any of them right now. Ah, there it is, the eye at the front, surely. There we are now, it's letting me shoot it. Or it was. There we go, it is. And that, as they say, is that. I'm not entirely sure who they are, but that is that. Okay, so we don't want to sell anything if we can help it. I'd rather keep the items that I have, thanks. What will we buy? The side shot or the electro ball? Let's buy. Okay, I don't have room for the electro ball. What about the side shot? Yeah, we'll have the side shot. I have 1,800 left. That will cost 1,000. Give them the cash and leave. We have 800 cash left. I may be going a little ahead of myself taking these weapons as early as I am, but we have shots at the side which will help us with some of the enemies. It'll get us through some of them more easily at least, because we can shoot them up from the sides as well as the front. And a mine just at our back end to help us out that side too. I should have probably kept the rear shot, to be honest, as well as the side shots. I feel like that would probably have been a better option. But we're okay. See, once you get the better weapons, then it's a little easier to do things in a good way. If I can hit that, that'll help me quite a lot. It helps me very much with getting rid of these tiny little things at least. They're a little awkward. Kind of like my playstyle. Oh no, maybe not. Speeding up again. Oh, can't go that way. We're taking some serious damage there. And shouldn't be at the top of the screen. You can't see what's coming if you stay at the top of the screen. That's some advice for free. Don't stay at the top of the screen in these kinds of games. I'm sure anyone that plays these kinds of games already knows that. But if you don't, if you're like me and usually just not very good at these games, well, hopefully that's still advice that you understand to be the case. It's like teaching your granny to suck eggs, isn't it? As they say. Although I don't know how many people's grannies actually do that. Does your granny do that? Mine certainly never. As far as I'm aware. Oh look, we've got a horrible insect there. A spider. Oh, I can't hit it. Is this the spider's web? It's like a weird web. Yeah, are we supposed to fight this spider, do you think? Yeah, look. If we can get shots in... See, it's just as well we have this side shot, because I feel like it does a lot more good in this sequence. Obviously the game wants to scroll one way and I'm trying to scroll the other. And we've got some other enemies up there that we need to worry about at some point. This spider's a bit of an awkward enemy, isn't it? Sorry if you don't like spiders. I know some people do have a fear of spiders that makes it impossible for them to even play a game that has any kind of spiders in it. So I'm sorry if I'm triggering your fears right now. But, you know, fears need to be faced. So, face your fears. Is this thing gonna die, or am I wasting my time shooting at this? It doesn't even seem to be reacting to my shots. It seems like half my shots just aren't hitting. There we go. I've got a load of power-ups and bits there. We're in the shop again. We're going shopping. Right, so, again, I don't want to sell anything to you. Unless there's something that stands out as being much better than... Okay, what have we got? This new, different kind of mine. Double shot. Cannon. Dive. A laser. And a missile launcher. I think we'll have that. Well, nothing now, because I have nothing else I can afford. I guess it's this. Level 3. I am ready. There we go, this looks more interesting. Gives us a much wider spread of fire, which should hopefully take out more of the enemies more easily. And really, that's all you can hope for. See, that's seriously helping us take these things out. And that's the thing, you know, that I suppose the advantage of a game like this is it does become easier the more you're powered up, and if you're main powered up by cheating as I am, admittedly, it does make things a lot easier. No point going that way. And also these missiles can go through the landscape, which is quite good for hitting these horrendous looking creatures. I'm not sure what they are. It's a load of insects. Our side shot disappeared. I guess we ran out of that. Or we bought something else which topped it up. So if that rocket launcher's on one side, I guess that means we can have a different weapon on the other side. Yes or no? So this is the trouble, because I'm terrible at these kinds of games, as you can see. I tended not to play very many of them when I was younger, but you know, this one was always quite a popular option. And I certainly remember hearing about this game a lot. And I know that these types of games are still quite popular with many people. And if you're, you know, if you're somebody who's good enough to do well at these sorts of games, your reflexes and everything else need to be fantastic, really. I mean, that's the main thing I would say. If you don't have great reflexes, then it makes it much harder. I suppose what I'm supposed to do really is stay away from this thing, but it's so hard. I've got space crabs and I don't know what to do with them. And he's got, like, extendable appendages too. It's the eyes. The eyes. The eyes have it. Except I can't hit that eye. Honestly? There we go. It, like, blinks its eyes shut, and I guess with its hard outer shell, it might not allow any weapons fire through when the eye's closed. But that is actually quite frustrating. Oh, come on. Your eye needs to go. No more eyes. There we are. See you later, creature. Entering the shop again. With no doubt very little we can actually afford to buy. What do I want to sell you? Well, I want to sell you absolutely nothing. And I want to see what additional weapons I can attach to my... none at the moment, I don't think. So we'll just exit just now, we'll continue as we were. I think we're doing alright anyway. We're back to level 3 for the second part of level 3. So yeah, I mean, this, as a game... yeah, we have to go back down. As you can see, I don't know my way around the levels, so... that obviously makes things a little more difficult. And we don't want to be at the top of the screen, because nobody in their right mind plays this kind of game at the top of the screen, do they? Then again, who said anyone was in their right mind? Who says anyone has to be? Why would that matter? Well, there are obvious reasons why it would matter. We should never make a joke out of people's lowest points. Because everyone needs to understand that they could be in that kind of position at some point. Do we have to go up and then down here? Oh no, look, there's like more of these creatures, so I guess, yeah, we have to take out that one. That's not going to kill that, is it? Oh, it did. It did, but it didn't kill the secondary weapon behind it. So if we can go down, we should be able to get up there and finish that off. Going this way. It's there, I know it's there. I don't think it respawns the front part, no it doesn't. I think the missiles certainly seem to do more damage than the single shot. And I feel like we could probably upgrade that as well with something a little bit better. Is it like a coelacanth type thing? Oh, do you know what? There was another one of those things there, wasn't there? I guess we gotta go this way and back down. Oh, come on, don't stick to that. At least we go down here, kill... No, we can't. Okay, forget that then. Forget you then. I don't know if that's a necessity. Is that a necessity to kill those? I guess we'll find out. Make sure that we take out the tail end. None of those other weapons around to take it out with, so... Oh, let's not get stuck on the scenery. If we can help it. Now we need to take out the tail end. I guess it's just... we just have to make sure we're taking the path that takes us to the exit of the level. To the boss fight. The health pickups are larger than they were earlier. Because of course, you know, there's an awful lot more enemies taking you on. That do an awful lot more harm than the early enemies did. Look at this thing. It's like an eel coming out of its hole in the rock face. That is basically what that is, isn't it? It's like a giant eel. There's not an awful lot I can do to stop myself getting hit if I don't play with sense. Oh, hang on. An itchy ear. We're okay. I don't think this thing's too difficult to take out. I think you just have to really hit it in the head. You gotta shoot it in the head. If you like playing Fallout 3. Or if you enjoy the films of George A. Romero. Whichever way you look at it. When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth, apparently. That's an awful lot of people. You know, it'd be like the Night King in Game of Thrones. You just have to stab him the one time in the gut. Well, in the chest apparently, but it certainly looked like she stabbed him in the stomach, didn't it? I don't know what everyone thought of the last episode. I didn't hate it in the same way that some people did. I've been watching Game of Thrones from the beginning, and, you know, personally, it didn't do what I expected it to do, but I think it was still an enjoyable series. And stacked up against the rest of it, maybe not as enjoyable as the earlier shows. But then the trouble with it was you always knew, you know, in this last few weeks, that it was the end. There was nothing more that we were going to see once this was done. And maybe a lot of people felt that, you know, the fact that that was the case. Oh, we're in the shop again. The fact was that was the case meant that they really hoped it would be something that they would enjoy more, and some people, many people didn't. You know, my opinion doesn't count for everybody. Do we want the laser? What's this? Flamer. A drone? I'm going to take that laser, I think. What do we have left? Not enough cash to buy any more of those. So we'll go out and we'll see what this does. Is this another weapon at the side, or... Oh yes it is, and that's going to make things much more interesting. Or quicker to do, perhaps. Some of these creatures are very odd looking. That, like, weird dragon thing just had its face melted off. I say all this while watching the Never-Ending Story. I've been watching it ever since it came out. Sorry, that's a terrible joke. But I thought it wasn't supposed to be supposed to ever finish. You know? At the time, you know, when... Anyone that watched it when you were a kid, did you ever come to that thought, you know, that they named the film something that it obviously was never going to be? Oh, it's a never-ending story. Yes, I know what the thematically they meant by that. It's a story ongoing for time eternal, and It has been going on since time immemorial. But wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it have been great, you know, you go to watch the film at the cinema when you're a kid. Bye, Mum! I'm off to live in the cinema! No. Like that would have happened. Whole families growing up in a cinema somewhere, just watching the never-ending story on repeat forever, wondering when it's ever going to end, and ignoring the title of the film. Oh, it must have an end, but it says it doesn't. It says it has no end. Yes, well. Sorry, I've taken that joke just a little too far, haven't I? What's this? It's like a weird... So it's got like a dragon's head. And, oh, I see. Do we have to take out the little heads before we can take out the big head? Any chance that you want to just die, dragon head thing? It's like a mass of flesh with multiple dragon heads stuck to it. Daenerys Targaryen would love it. Come on. There we go. Silly dragon heads. And then we've got a tail that wags. So it's happy. Why is it attacking us? You know, he's wagging his tail. Why is he attacking us so much? Is he not a happy dragon? Is there such a thing as a happy dragon? Would you be a happy dragon if you had 17 heads on the side of your body? Okay, I still can't shoot the main head. I wonder if we have to take out the back of it before we can take out the front. Is that what it is? That head is busy trying to take us out, but it's not getting much of a chance. So yeah, I feel like there is something on top of this tail. Oh yeah, there we go. That needs to get taken out then. And then perhaps we'll be ready. So yeah, the never-ending story, yeah? We can get a little beat going there. Do 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 do. I'm sure this game's supposed to have a soundtrack, isn't it? Have I turned off the audio somehow? Turned off the music? We can make our own music. Do 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 do. Into the shop. Hello, Mr. Wood Alien. I'd like to not buy anything from you today, thanks. Everything must go. This may be your last chance. Well, when you say everything must go, does that mean I can have everything? No, it doesn't, does it? You're lying. What's this? Missile launcher we have. Laser we have. Double shot, presumably that goes on the front. So we'll have that. Well, that's really it, I'm afraid. I'm afraid you're going to have to keep some of your stock. Okay, so we're obviously nearing the end, I guess. Yeah, there we go. Look, now we've seriously beefed up our power. Got a laser on one side, a missile on the other. Shots coming out of our sides. We're uber destructive. Nobody can defeat us now. Well, I mean, nobody can defeat us anyway, because we're cheating. But, you know what I mean. I don't know what, anyone thinks, if anyone's enjoying these kind of videos with playing some older games. I feel like playing them without some of the codes on often means you do the same part repeatedly over and over again. Well, me at least. Some people are obviously going to do better at that than me. I'm looking at maybe picking up doing some of the old Super Nintendo RPGs as well, obviously the early Final Fantasies, Chrono Trigger and all that kind of thing. Potentially do those without cheats. A lot of the cheats I'm using are action replay based and Game Genie based, depending which they are. And I know that a lot of those games, like your Final Fantasies and things, did have codes on those particular devices. Which obviously gave various things. Sometimes they don't do anything. I mean, sometimes they're all like, change the colour of this or that, or, you know, and they don't actually have any real gameplay value. I don't know if anyone's interested in seeing, you know, cheats like that, where they maybe don't add any ability to make the game easier to finish. You know, like obviously a lot of the old sports games and stuff like that, when you're playing like your NBA games, I mean, everyone remembers surely back in the day when you were playing like NBA Jam, you know, with the giant heads and all that kind of stuff. Oh, what's this now? You know, would anyone be interested in seeing those kinds of cheat runs as well? Wow, it's like a giant chameleon. And now it's missing an eye. You need an eye patch for that, mate. He'll become a pirate chameleon. Now he can't see. How can he still be hitting me with his pendulous tongue? It is a pendulous tongue, isn't it? Because it is literally swinging back and forward like a pendulum. Do you know what we could do with one of those, like, Z things? It looks like maybe I've killed that now. All we've done is blown its head off. Isn't that pretty horrendous? Hey, I thought it was my last chance. Well, that's it, viewers. Don't forget to turn off your set. What? Was it good enough for you? I don't know. Is that it? Oh. They've turned off our life support. I'm guessing that's not... Is that the end? One little pixel in the middle of the screen. That would have been probably quite effective. Yeah, looks like we have actually finished the game. So there you go. Xenon 2 Megablast on Genesis. We don't have to play anymore because we've done it already. Yeah, Xenon 2 Megablast. It looks like, I mean, basically what we do is we can go round and round and round. Now, there is something I want to check. Which is, yeah, literally that is all that happens in the game. Your score stays, so I mean, you could potentially sit and play this game like the never-ending story forever, or until your power went out. I don't suppose there's many people though that are sitting in a room playing Xenon 2 forever, for eternity, but there might be. You just don't know. And with that, thank you very much for tuning in for another retro game for cheaters. And this wasn't a particularly long one, but we just finished doing the end of Discworld, and I pretty much started doing this straight after. And there you go. So thank you very much for tuning in. Please, if you're enjoying my videos, drop a subscription if you like. Click the bell for notifications as well. If you're interested in seeing when I'm going live with live streams as well, because we play a lot more games like that too, head over to mixer.com/supernautus. That's my live stream page. You can find out when I'm going live as well by hitting twitter.com/supernautus. And eventually I hope that at some point in time my YouTube channel will be able to have Supernautus as the name on it too, rather than a random mishmash of letters and numbers. But for now, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you'll join me again for whatever the next thing might be. But for now, good night.